What's up, guys? Let's talk about Porco Rosso. So this is a 1992 comedy adventure anime film directed by Hayao Miyazaki. He also wrote it, and it's based off his 3-part watercolor manga, The Age of the Flying Boat. Like many of his films, it's also a part of Studio Ghibli, and it is actually the last film out of every one of his that I had finally sat down and watched. This is actually the second time I've seen it, first being on the Disney Blu-ray, and now in theaters as part of Studio Ghibli Fest 2018 in the G-Kids version. Which I have to say, it might be because I saw it in theaters and it probably just looks a little bit better there, but I think that this version from G-Kids actually does look a little bit sharper. So Porco Rosso is Italian for Crimson Pig, and it's about a pilot who goes by that name, also known as Marco Rossellini. Something has cursed him to given the form of a pig, but he's known as being one of the best pilots out there. Oh, and did I mention he's actually a bounty hunter? He later goes to the Hotel Adriano, where he meets a man by the name of Curtis, who is also a pilot, but he's from America. Later on, while having engine trouble, he is shot down by Curtis, and he's forced to get repaired somewhere in Milan. Here he meets a young engineer by the name of Fio, who ends up helping him repair his plane and making it even better than before. Now, I don't want to give too much away for those of you who've never seen Porco Rosso. And while the plot isn't too extravagant anyway, it's definitely a film that's worth seeing and not knowing too much about before you really get a chance to watch it. Now, many people say this is one of Hayao Miyazaki's most underrated films he's ever made, and I definitely have to agree. With that, though, I'm not quite sure where it stacks up compared to the rest of his 11 total films. Well, at least of his feature films that we've seen so far. And while I love all of them, including Porco Rosso, it might actually be my least favorite. There's only several reasons why I can really say it's really hard to pinpoint. Number one, I think the music could be used a little bit more in this film. There's definitely a lot more moments where it feels very quiet, and there's just needs to be a little bit extra parts here and there with a little bit of music. And don't get me wrong, Joe Hisaishi is back and he does a fantastic job. It definitely stands out on several scenes, especially during the key elements where he's flying. But at times it just feels like I'm missing something. I think the music was part of it. With that though, just like most if not all of Hayao Miyazaki's films, there's a big element of strong female lead characters. When we're introduced to Fio, we get to see a side of Porco where he's not quite sure he trusts the work of a woman as an engineer. We see that Fio is very eager and she really knows what she's doing. She's really smart, and this definitely starts to turn his mind around as far as all of that. Miyazaki takes it a step further when he makes a whole team of women as the people that help him repair his plane, which I have to say is really awesome and a great message for young women out there who want to become engineers. One standout I will definitely say is the fact that Porco is one of the main male lead characters in most Miyazaki films, and he's portrayed in the English dub by Michael Keaton. He's also one of, if not the oldest main character that we've seen in any of his films. That definitely provides for some interesting perspective that we're not used to seeing from him. There's a lot of fun, silly comedy that's interlaced here and there. A lot of really cool, stunning action sequences when we see the airplanes really shown off, and especially when Porco is flying. And for a film that came out in 1992, the animation definitely still holds up, especially because we all know how great of an animator that Hayao Miyazaki is. I definitely felt that I paid more attention to the overall story this time around, and it really helped bring it all together, and I appreciated how everything was done in the end. While I wouldn't necessarily be raring to try to watch this or show it to as many people as I can, I still recommend it for pretty much every Miyazaki fan or just general fan of animation out there. It's also worth noting that if you're a fan of just general history or certain aspects of the Italian culture and other elements like that, you'll definitely find a lot to like here. And there is some surprising elements to this film as well. For example, there are certain things that you actually expect Miyazaki to reveal at some point, but you never quite get exactly what you're hoping. But that's not a bad thing, and in a way it's pretty unique. Overall, this is definitely a great film, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again someday. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend checking it out on Blu-ray from G-Kids. Or if you're lucky enough to see it in theaters as part of another Studio Ghibli Fest, I definitely recommend that. Porco Rosso takes flight in one of Hayao Miyazaki's most underrated features, with charming characters, a fun blend of humor, and unique style, bringing out the best of Ghibli. And that's why this film is a diligent pick. So what do you guys think of Porco Rosso? How do you feel it compares to the rest of the Ghibli films out there, or just Miyazaki's work specifically? Did you get to see it at Studio Ghibli Fest this year, or close to when it actually came out? And like me, I'm definitely curious to know what your thoughts are. My name is Dylan, and if you enjoyed the review, subscribe to my channel while this video ends and send me a thumbs up before you go. Thanks for watching, and stay diligent.